This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Well, let's get back to it.
Do you mind if I say a few words? Thank you.
How long is it that we're going to keep carrying on before we admit that we're all at war with Vladimir Putin? Rootin', tootin', shootin', Putin. I think it's happened already. We're just pretending that it hasn't. Texts and emails from last night. Mark tweets, personally, the advice to buy a new kettle is good. Oh, God, still on with that. But these are texts and tweets from last night. An internal part of my kettle keeps jumping out at me. I think it's the element of surprise. Oh, I am in pain. Zara emails, I'm 33 years old, brags Zara. Am I too young to start wearing long johns and thermal underwear? No, Zara. Just about the right age. I know you live in them practically 365 days a year, says Zara. Are there any particular ones I need to look for? All help is appreciated. Yeah, look for any ones you like, just not mine. Sue emails, I don't know if anyone else is worried about this, but when they stop putting those cardboard inserts in loo rolls, what are we supposed to fill our recycling bin up with? It don't make no, never mind, Sue. They just chuck it into a big hole in the ground. I mean, instinctively, you know that's true, right? You carefully sort out all your recycling into its various 63,000 different bins, and then they load it into a lorry and they just chuck it into a big hole in the ground. You know that's true. I betcha, betcha, betcha. It's worse than that. They don't chuck it into a hole in the ground here. They chuck it into a hole in the ground in Hungary. Or China, or somewhere like that. I don't know that it's true, but it doesn't prevent me from having a strong opinion. David texts, they should announce a sequel to Groundhog Day and then just re-release the original. A listener with material.
Oh, no.
Dell says, also, what a weird way to start a text. Also, and another thing, NASA is putting a man back on the moon. Is this going to be Boris, and are they going to leave him there? Maybe he can wave his flag from the moon like he did when he got stuck on that zip wire. I'm still furious with the person who let him down from that zip wire. He could still be up there, you know? Damn it! Why are they going back to the moon? We've been there already. There's nothing there. Can we solve a few more problems down here before we start trying to solve ones in space?
No.
Apparently not. What's the point? There's nothing there other than to build a launching point to go to somewhere else. And what would be the point of that? Ain't nothing in Mars neither. And Mercury's too hot, and Uranus is dreadful at this time of year. Luke texts, is Boris having a leaving party? Are you kidding? His leaving party started the day he began that job. He's been having a business leaving party ever since. On days when he's not doing dress-up, he's having a party. Tina says, have you noticed the word robust has now been replaced by bold? Has it? Well, they've used robust up and thrown it away. They've rubbed the edge off robust, and now it's bold, is it? Ms. Truss is bold this and bold that. Enough already, says Tina. Well, I haven't actually heard them use that, but I'm sick of it already. Haven't heard them use it once, and already I'm tired of it. Theo texts, on the people in work figures, I was in work on the 5th of April 2021, self-employed with my own company. I was also in work on the 6th of April 2021 via some umbrella company nonsense and on payroll. I think there are a few 100,000 in similar situations. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, there are. Yeah. Don't make no sense to me, but, you know, nothing does lately. Nothing does lately at all. I've been trying to pay my VAT, by the way. I've been trying. I owe the government a boatload of money, and it just won't take it. It's impossible to pay it. They just won't let me do it. Oh, they'll fine me for not doing it, but will they let me actually do it?
No.
Apparently not. Catch-22. We're not going to let you do it, but we'll fine you if you don't. Richie says, you are right about our voting system, Nick. This was presumably in reference to some conversation I was having yesterday about countries being run by not first past the post. as we do in this country, which is not democracy. It's kind of like democracy, but not really. You know, if over and over and over again you get a Conservative Party that has not been voted for by the majority of the population, and yet they get 100% of the power, then it seems to me that something is wrong with the system. But not Richie. Richie is perfectly fine with that system. Richie says, you are right about our voting system, Nick. Richie is using sarcasm in this example. He said we should have proportional representation like that amazing political success story, Italy. How weird that you would pick Italy out. I mean, Italy is doing considerably better than we are on many different variables, none of which occur to me at the moment, but give me a while and I'll think of some. How about sophistication? They're more sophisticated than we are, that's for sure. Here's a list of countries, this is just in Europe, that are run by rainbow coalitions. Proportional representation. Armenia, Belgium, Bulgaria, Croatia, Cyprus, the Czech Republic, Finland, France, Germany, Hungary, Iceland, Italy, Kosovo, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Monaco, Montenegro, Netherlands, North Macedonia, Norway, Poland, Ireland, Romania, San Marino, Serbia, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, Switzerland, Ukraine. You know, but apart from them, you just picked Italy. Right. Shall I do the rest of the world?
No.
Oh, okay then. You can stick your sarcasm, Richie. Just because you're sarcastic doesn't make you right. 0345 6060 973. There was a YouGov poll today. Question: how good or bad a Prime Minister do you think Liz Truss will be? They gave the options of great, good, average, poor, terrible, and don't know. Don't know. How good or bad a Prime Minister do you think Liz Truss will be? Percentage of those who said great? 2% of those who were asked to express a preference said that Liz Truss was going to be a great Prime Minister. 2% of those who said that she would be a good Prime Minister? 10%. Now, keep in mind that these days, everything is in the extreme. If you've ever rated a cab, you take Uber or, other cab apps are available, and you rate your cab or you rate your plumber or whatever it might be. Anything less than 5 stars is you might as well take your gloves off and slap them in the face. So we are at extremes. It's either 5 stars or 0 stars. Those are the only two options. So only 2% said great. Good, which is the equivalent of 4 stars, which means which means these people think she's going to be terrible. 10%. 10%. So 12% say she's either going to be great or good. Those who thought that she was going to be average amount to 20%. 20% of those who were asked to express a preference said that Liz Truss was going to be average. Now, I think average is a movable feast. Average compared to whom? Bodger? Theresa May? David Cameron? If she's average compared to that lot, I think we're screwed.
I think this is nonsense.
Those who thought that she was going to be poor, 17%. Wow. We're building to the big reveal. And those who thought she was going to be terrible. The next Prime Minister, she hasn't even done anything yet, apart from, yak on at the hustings. Yeah, just express any passing thought that flits across her brow. Those who thought she was going to be terrible, 35%. What? That is 52% who think that she's going to be poor or terrible. 52%. 12% say she's going to be great or good. They hate you, Liz. Got a big mountain to climb. Huge. You could get in some practice by climbing up that mountain of red tape that you've delivered to us by your excellent Brexit. Still looking for those sunny uplands? When they come into view, you let me know straight away, all right? Mark texts, I have a few ideas. Oh, a few? Well, let's start with one. He says, shackle the serfs in hamster wheels to power electric turbines, the urchins down coal mines, and the poor into the arenas to fight for food as entertainment for our noble elite. Sorted. Well, I think that represents the next Conservative Party manifesto. Don't give them any ideas, Mark. Here's a suspiciously keen caller in Bloomsbury. Hello, Sophia.
Good evening. I think the moon
Good evening, who?
Nick.
Bingo!
I completely agree with you. I think the moon is made of green cheese and it's left that way. Now, Boris didn't get his way. Actually, he's called Alexander, so we have to call him Alex in future. But Theresa May had a good idea. She was going to reinstitute the Sizewell B nuclear.
She was going to do what now?
Reinstitute the Sizewell B nuclear power station. If he'd left it alone, Boris has now agreed to it. 3 years later, she would have completed it by now. It may be not my favourite one, but it's better than being told that we can't have any...
absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. You know, when you start with the moon is made of green cheese, then anything you say after that, even if it does make sense, doesn't make any sense. That's just a tip that I'm passing on to you with my compliments.
Thank you.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet @LBC. Text 84850.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
That's worth repeating, by the way, that text from Mark. He says, I have a few good ideas. Excellent ideas, Mark. Well worth repeating more than once. Shackle the serfs in hamster wheels to power electric turbines, the urchins down coal mines, the poor into arenas to fight for food as entertainment for our noble elite. Sorted, says Mark. That's our future. It's freedom. Jed texts, Liz Truss is worth £12 million, apparently. Incredible. How'd you get that then? How did you get £12 million? Where did that come from? Did you just trip over it in the street? Here's a call in Chingford. Hello, John.
Oh, hi, Nick. Good evening. There's a new, there's a think tank, I think they're called the Royal United Services Institute, and they've just announced that to meet Liz Truss's defence commitments, the new higher rate of money she's spending on defence, it's going to cost 157 billion.
157 billion pounds, yes.
Yeah. And, the think tank says, well, to achieve this, she's either got to raise taxes considerably, or else it's got to go into things like the NHS and social services. So, which brings me to your happiest nations. You often mention which are the happiest nations, who
the
have,
perfect
high
countries.
taxes.
Yeah, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, all of those HAPPY-ness countries.
And also no nukes, I notice, I think, those countries as well.
No nukes. Yeah. What do you need nuclear weapons for? We're a tiny offshore tax avoidance racket. What do we need nuclear weapons for? It's like mounting a Sten gun on the counter of your local bank. Overkill.
Yeah.
Literally.
But anyway, that's what I don't know how she's going to achieve lower taxes and, this new defence commitment. Crazy, John, really, but...
yeah, well, there it is in a nutshell. John, you're not actually taking her seriously, are you? Don't take anything that Liz Truss says seriously. You didn't take anything that the current incumbent says seriously. Surely, please tell me you don't.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Well,
just
ignore... you never know, do you?
Well, you do know.
Larry the cat likes her, so...
I seriously
maybe
doubt
Larry
that.
knows something we don't know.
I very much doubt Larry the cat has a soft spot for Liz Truss.
Well, allegedly, she's his favourite.
She is Larry the cat's favourite.
Yeah.
That cat's an idiot. Thanks, John. 0345 6060 973. Catist. Pippa emails, you are a kind of clever man. What? Can you help me, please? I am so confused, says Pippa. Why are people still saying, well, he got Brexit done, like he has, and it's a good thing? Can you please find me someone that can tell me one good thing that this Brexit thing has actually achieved?
No.
No, I cannot. There isn't anything. We have an entire 7-foot-tall, ghostly hat stand whose mission in life is to find something positive to say about Brexit, and he can't do it. That's all he does day and night, apart from write creepy notes to people who aren't at their desk. Oh, sorry you weren't here when I called. Can you believe it? I am... Is this real life or am I hallucinating? Wouldn't it be great if I was hallucinating? No one can say a good thing about Brexit. Nothing at all. Not one single solitary thing. I challenge you to say something positive about Brexit. Smug, the only thing that he's come up with is that we can change the signs in the Dartford Tunnel from metres to yards. He actually said that out loud. I mean, really, this is not a serious country anymore. It's been turned into a joke. I wonder why.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Des emails, what are your thoughts on Peter Jones from Dragon's Den being interested in running for Prime Minister? Well, I might have a thought on that if I knew who Peter Jones from Dragon's Den was. I don't think that show should be on television. It seems like a racket to me. How are they allowed to do that? Some tremulous... not that I've really watched it, but I'm aware of what it is. Is it some tremulous type gets on television and puts forward something that may or may not make hundreds of millions of pounds? But they're in a bit of dire financial strait. I would think that they would be inclined, feel impelled to accept any old dreadful offer from those people, by which method they'd be signing away their future health, wealth and happiness. It just seems like a scam to me. I don't know why that's allowed to be on television. Unless it's just a happy game show, meaning, of no consequence, in which case I take it all back. Jay says, with the country going the way it is there any chance we can now apply for tickets for Rwanda ourselves? Yeah, I'll meet you at the airport, Jay. 0345 6060 973. Watford, hello, Reggie.
Hello, mate. I've got a complaint, Nick.
Oh,
here.
no.
What you got against cats, mate? I love them.
I like cats too. It's just that Larry the cat seems to have questionable taste.
Have you got a cat, Nick, or have you ever had one?
I had many cats, yes.
How many?
All died in mysterious circumstances. I'm kidding.
But I've got a suggestion. Why don't you and Mick Lynch take over the country, Nick?
I'll do that straight away. Well, not straight away. Can I do it tomorrow? No, well, it's Sunday. Sunday tomorrow. I'll do it first thing on Monday. Well, not first thing on Monday. How about Monday after? Well, let's say Tuesday. Thursday, any good for you?
No, you got to do Wednesday. Sorry.
Wednesday it is. Thanks a lot, Reggie. 0345 6060 973. Reggie. Shades of, Leonard Rossiter, of course. Chris says, Truss is right. What? Truss is right. We've never had it better than barely adequate, so good is a distant dream.
We have never had it so good.
David says, is he in his ditch yet? Has the home counties over 70s Derby and Joan finished yet? Has Brexit finished? Can we get on with being a poor and divided fourth world country yet? Over to you, Bodge. It's a yes. It's a yes from him. Maidstone. Hello, Joan.
Hello there, Nick.
Hello there, Joan. Oh, Joan, you know what? There's an echo on the line. We're going to have to call you back. Call that nice lady back straight away, if not sooner. 0345 6060 973. We'll ring you straight back, Joan. Don't you worry about a thing. It's, I don't know. It's a problem on the lines. It's probably lefty, Ramona activist strikers. Probably militants, I expect, Joan. Have you heard? Mark says, I have a few ideas. Shackle the serfs in hamster wheels to power electric turbines, the urchins down coal mines, the poor into arenas to fight for food as entertainment for our noble elite, Sorted. Jay says, with the country going the way... Oh, no, I've read that. I've read all three of the ones that are on my screen at the moment, so one moment, please. Tom says, what does Belarus and England have in common? We both use first past the post. Isn't it lovely that we have something in common with the last dictatorship of Europe? Well, it might not be the last dictatorship of Europe, eh, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
0345 6060 973. Well, we're desperately trying to get Joan back. Any moment now. On the edge of your seat, you are, I bet. First, here's a call from Bermondsey, Lavinia Grace.
Hiya. Hi, Nick. How are you?
I am great, mate.
Lovely, lovely. Lovely to hear your voice.
Is it?
It really is. Yes, it really is. Well, what I'd like to say, Nick, is all I've been hearing is all about this energy sort of crisis, sort of food sort of crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is a crisis.
Yeah.
But what I want to say to you and all your people out there,
all of me, all of my person.
Yes.
Yeah.
To understand actually what is going on, because I feel in my heart everything is absolutely crazy out there. So to understand everything, you have to be sort of crazy to understand everything. Does that make sense?
No.
Right, exactly. Because nothing makes sense.
Nothing makes sense anymore.
Affirmative.
Yeah, you are completely correct in every respect.
Thank you, Nick. But what I would like to say...
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
What I would love to say, Nick, is
Yes.
that I've been, sort of preparing myself. And the reason why I've been...
Now, wait a minute, back up. Preparing yourself in
Yeah.
What does that actually involve?
Sort of going back to basics.
Back to basics. And what does that involve?
That means getting yourself dirty.
Oh, please.
Disgusting.
Dirty?
Yes. What I'm actually trying to say, to understand what is going on out there, you have to go back to basics.
Back to basics.
Right?
Yeah. Get dirty. Mm-hmm.
Yes, get dirty and live in think like you've got to use your brain instead of using the computers, because in a minute, Nick, we will have sort of power cuts, right? So what we need to do is you prepare ourselves and start sort of thinking with our minds.
As opposed to...
As what?
You want us to think with our minds?
Yes, because so far everybody is on the computer. And what happens, Nick, when all of us are going to have sort of power cuts here and there and everywhere,
right.
we're not none of us will be able to think.
Right, when the computer gets turned off and you can't charge your phone anymore, can you imagine? Anybody under the age of 40 years old isn't going to be able to think for themselves. I get what you're saying, Lavinia. You're not as crazy as you sound.
Thank you, my lovely.
That's the answer I was hoping for. Good to talk to you, Lavinia Grace. Excellent work, that person. 0345 6060 973. Geraint texts, Rishi might look like Roland Rat, but sounds like one of the in-betweeners. Well, which one? Liz Truss shares the same shifty trait as Boris, that certain look in their eyes like a third-form school kid who hasn't done their homework and is about to attempt to blag their way through an exam. Blagging.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah, the difference between Bodge and the Truss bot is that Bodger can do blagging for a living. And essentially that's what he's been doing his entire life. He just comes along and does his paw act. And people go, oh, he's doing his best. Because he looks like a teddy bear. He isn't a teddy bear. He's a viper. But he looks like a teddy bear. So he's been able to get away with it his entire life. Liz Truss, on the other hand, not so much. Now, I'm not really even saying that that's a negative quality. as far as she is concerned. It's probably a positive quality that she cannot get away with lying quite so much, disseminating misinformation. Liar! She can't get away with it. He could, up to a certain point. And they are actually trying to rewrite history as each moment ticks by. They're trying to rewrite it to their own specifications. Rewriting history. Telling history is apparently makes you an enemy of the people. Rewriting history, on the other hand, Abbot.
I can't comment on that.
Oh, blimey, look at the time. 0345 6060 973.
Nick Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Well, let's get back to it.
And by it, I mean the return of Joan.
Hello there, video.
Hello, Joan.
Tell you what, Nick. I'm at 91 years of age.
91 years of age?
Yep, that's it.
Yes.
So my heart has been beating for 91 years. My blood has been going around. We should be looking into kinetic energy. We produce enough for a strong man to be able to pull a small car.
Yeah.
So what are we waiting for?
Maybe we should wire you up to the national grid, Joan.
Well, I think, seriously, if they were to look into kinetic energy, because we're producing it and it's been flying around the generations for years and years.
Well, that is true. Have you seen a film called The Matrix?
No. I don't need... I live stuff.
You live it, but you don't have to watch it. That's right. Good point. Yeah. Well, if you I recommend that you don't watch a film called The Matrix, because that the scenario of The Matrix, spoiler alert, warning, is kind of similar to what you've just expressed, and it doesn't really work out very well for humankind. Never mind.
But also, we should be looking into perpetual motion.
Right.
The old grandfather clock, pendulum swinging to and fro, to and fro.
Mm-hmm.
Powerful enough to move the minutes and hours and go bong, bong, boing.
Bong, bong, bong.
Yep.
But perpetual motion, that doesn't exist, though, does it?
Yes,
How can
it does.
How can it, though? Get Einstein on the phone straight away. He'll explain it to us.
Well, it's in the British Science Museum.
Oh, the British Science Museum. That's a fascinating place to spend an afternoon.
Boring! Yep, so there's two for it to be going on with.
Well, it certainly is, and I certainly won't. But appreciate the suggestion there, Joan. Cheers, my dear.
Okay.
It was Joan from Maidstone. 0345 6060 973. Is perpetual motion a thing? We'll never find out. Einstein's not picking up. Joe texts, not Joe texts. Joe texts. I would not eat any English coastal fish until we stop discharging foul sewerage into our coastal waters. Look after your health, says Joe. Well, I wouldn't think that there's anything to be concerned about, Joe. Liz Truss says it's perfectly safe.
Oh,
no. What a country, eh? Janet emails, I'm in France, and France is suffering from a lack of nurses and doctors. A sign as you come to my village says, GPs needed, we will offer a furnished office. Furnished office. Is that it? Brexit is not the problem, says Janet. Bad management and lack of future planning are at fault. Well, I would suggest that if you are in France, you're probably in a very, 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 very small village in France. Am I right? I mean, you ain't in Paris, are you? So if you are in a tiny, tiny village in out of the way France, and it's not really surprising that they are in want of probably GPs and bakers and gardeners and all of the rest of it. You know, that's the problem with villages, is because young people haven't got anything to do there, so they up sticks and go to somewhere where there is something to do. So they need to get them back, once they reach, once they're not fiddling about anymore.
Disgusting.
Once their fiddling days are done. But you are quite right. Bad management and lack of future planning are part of the fault of why we have a collapsing health system in this country. But Brexit absolutely is part of the problem. unquestionably. I was looking at charts today which shows that the health service in this country is pretty much worse than any other one in the whole of Europe. We have fewer nurses, doctors, beds, and machines that go than any other country in Europe. Of course, we used to have a lot of workers here from Eastern Europe, Europe in general. But we yelled at them for 5 years to get out of our country, and they did, which was pretty unpatriotic of them, I thought. Pretty unpatriotic. Don't they love our country? Left after only 5 years of us screaming at them to get out. You believe that? And by the way, I can't remember whether I was actually talking about this last night, but all of those people, the ones that have actually been replaced in restaurants and wherever, have been replaced by other people from different countries, not British people. We're still not doing those jobs. Still don't want to do those jobs. Still don't have to do those jobs. We ain't doing those jobs. We never were. All of that, once those people leave, then we will be able to take over, and it'll be a high wage economy. Ain't that right, Bodge? Yeah, no. Didn't really work out that way. What happened was that we replaced the European workers with workers from other countries. We still ain't doing those jobs, and they're still being done by foreigners, except that the foreigners that have replaced them don't do them very well and don't speak English very well, at least not as well as the Europeans that they're replacing. Still, I'm sure that Brexiteers know what they're doing. They do, after all, know what they voted for, as has been explained to me at great volume about 1 million times since that dreadful vote. Oldbury, Ranjit.
Hi, Nick. You okay?
Yes, great, mate.
Yeah,
Here, you run a chip shop, don't you?
Yeah, I do indeed, yes.
Right,
yes.
So are we not about to have a big problem with a lack of chips?
We're going to have a big problem with lack of everything, not just chips.
What's your electricity bill? Because I'm guessing it has to be pretty big, because those fryers, they're electric, right? They're not gas.
Well, my electric has trebled.
Yeah.
Right, because I went into a new contract in February.
Right.
Oh, no, not March, yeah. And I waited 3 days to get a better deal, and it cost me an extra £4,500 over 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Literally 3 days. I spoke to the same person. He says, mate, take this deal. I said, don't be silly. I said, you can't triple it. And the next 2 days later when I rang, it was a few pennies more. My gas has gone up 2.5 times. But now, Nick, we can't pass on the buck to nobody else because everybody that's walking into the shop is skint as well.
Well,
yeah?
so
there's no way out now. There's no way out.
Well, you're going to have to pass on the price, because otherwise you aren't going to... I mean, you're not a charity. You can't just sell fish and chips for nothing.
No, we're going to pass it on, but those people can't have... They will not come in, end of.
How much is... if I want cod and chips, how much?
It's at the moment, it's quite cheap. It's £9.50.
£9.50?
What?
Yeah. It's going... Look, and the other thing is, Nick, it depends on what size the cod is. Our cod is about 10 to 12 ounce, yeah?
Right, I don't know what that is. But, like a medium-sized fish and a medium chips is £9.50.
£9.50.
Wow.
Yeah. And but the fish is £7, yeah? If you was to come in and just buy a fish and walk out, and if everybody did that, I would be bankrupt because that is a lost leader. Then I'd have to put the fish up to £9 on its own, right? But
so hang on a minute. Whoa, back up. So you don't make any profit on the fish?
When we sell some chips with it or a curry sauce or peas, that's where we make the money back.
Blimey.
That's how bad it's gone. And that's directly because of Brexit, yeah? Because the fishermen used to come into Aberdeen, yeah? And it takes them 8-9 hours to land the fish by the time they got the paperwork. They just don't bother. They go into Europe now and take it into Denmark or anywhere else, right? And we get leftovers and the supply meets demand, right? And sometimes I can't even get fish, and other people will tell you, right? But the thing is, that's directly because of Brexit. You know the stuff we used to get from Denmark? It's called cod roe, yeah? It's like fish eggs.
Oh.
It's like spam meat. It's really nice. Yeah?
Spam?
I mean, it's not spam, but, it's like processed fish eggs. Yeah? That used to be £24 for a box of 12, and now it's over £52 for a box of 12.
Wow.
Right? The thing is, Nick, okay, you come to my shop, for example, and I say fish and chips, Nick, for £15. Yeah? You're not going to have them, are you? You're not going to have them. You say, well, Ranjit, can I have a large bag of chips? And I've got a loaf of bread here, and I've got some butter at home, and my kids are going to have chip butties.
Right.
And that's where we've gone to now, right? And Boris Johnson in his lap of honour through the country now, yeah?
God, it's
right?
excruciating.
It's even more when I seen that other blonde bit with him there, what Nadine Dorries is he or whatever. What's she sniffing around him for? He's not Prime Minister anymore. They were there with a digger or a tractor. It was that bad, yeah. I just had to switch over channels when I was watching the news. I mean, what's he about? I mean...
He is. He's just going to go away for a brief time. He's going to make a boatload of money because, monetizing his position was the plan all along. And then he's going to come back and save us from, I've got no idea. He's going to reintroduce those sunny uplands. Are you enjoying those yet?
No, the thing is,
not
Nick,
really.
the thing is, look, if he wanted to make money, right, which was... Why has he crippled the population of this country? That is what's really annoying me.
Ranjit, keep your eye on the prize. Most of the people in this country are doing really, really badly. A few people, and it's like a handful at the very, very top, have made out like bandits. And those people are classed as the donor class. That's who they are. They're the donor class, the people who've got so much money that they actually donate six-figure sums to political parties. Not any political party, of course, just one particular one.
Nick, you're roughly the same age as me. When we was kids, right, there was probably about 30% of the people controlled 70% of the wealth.
Right.
Yeah. And then it went to 80%, so 20% controlled 80%.
Yeah.
And now I think it's probably about 5% of the wealth is so 5% of the people control 95% of the wealth. And the thing is, are baristas idiots? Are doctors idiots? You can say about people working in supermarkets or miners or whatever, dustbin men. What they're doing now is they're culling the middle class. Right? So where does the middle class, say, 10 years was going, oh, yes, oh, yeah, okay, yes, Boris is fine, this, that, and the other.
Well,
now they're feeling it.
All right, you have to keep in mind where the money is. I mean, if you've got 10 million people who are really, really poor, then even though there's a lot of them, there isn't that much money to scrape off them that you can, then acquire for yourself if you're at the very, very top of the heap. But if there's 10 million middle-class people who are just about getting by, then you can take just enough off each one of those to actually make quite a decent pile for yourself. And that is essentially what has happened over the last 50 years or so. The only people that have really made out, who have had a share of the wealth that has been created by all of us, are the people at the very, very, very top. And people like Mick Lynch and the various, lefty activist unionists who are pointing this out. I mean, it's about blooming time that somebody pointed it out. Somebody could have been pointing this out in the 1980s or the 1990s or the 2000s or the 2010s. It had to wait till 2022 for somebody to actually say this out loud. It's the truth. The super rich have done fantastically well. They couldn't have conceived of doing so well particularly since the start of the pandemic. It's almost as though they engineered it. It could not have gone any better for them. Ranjit, I'm going to have to go because I'm past the break, but I wish you and your chips all the very best. Go and buy some fish and chips, people, because if they all shut down, you'll miss them when they're gone. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbot.
Well, the whole world's gone crazy.
Jane texts, can we please have some more soprano sound bites?
Absolutely.
Craig emails, you asked the nation why there is nobody to pick fruit in our fields despite the number of migrants crossing the channel. I didn't. But go on. He says, I know the left like to see the good in everybody, but that's because a large percentage of these migrants are not here, spelt wrong, to work for their lot. Rather, they are here to take advantage of our soft touch, lefty attitudes and welfare system. The left will not like to hear this, but it's the truth. Craig, just because you say it's the truth doesn't make it the truth. He says the sooner we leave the ECHR, European Court of Human Rights, the better. Craig, when they take away the human rights, you do understand that, well, I mean, I'm going out on a limb here, but you are a human, I'm supposing. And the rights that are lost for other humans also apply to you. But I guess that's a bit too much thinking. Don't tire yourself out, mate. Elle says, have you noticed that Bojo's hair has gone flat on his bonds? Less fluffy. Is it the sun, the sea and the sand? Any comments, Bodge?
I can't comment
You can't possibly comment on that.
I-
Mark text, the only good thing I've heard Liz Truss has promised is to scrap dumb motorways. At least we'll be safe on the motorways, even if we have no fuel or electric power to run our cars. They do seem to make no sense to me, those smart run motorways. Not very smart, stupid. Lorna says, two things. Number one, how humid was it today? And number two, I got petrol earlier for £1.63.9 pence at a garage near Maidstone.
What?
£1.63.9, 163.9p. I actually felt like I'd won something, said Lorna. I saw it at 165 the other day, but it's gone back up to 169. And what's the 0.9 bit? What's that for? Name one other thing that is actually sold in units of 0.9 of a pence. Bazza emails, Nick, mate, you're deluded. It's spelt 3 words wrong in the first 4 words. Nick, mate, you're deluded. We got our independence, spelt wrong, back. We don't, spelt wrong, have EU ruling over us, telling us what we can't, spelt wrong, do. Labour would bring us back into the EU, and that's why ill, spelt wrong, never vote for them, and they are communists, rainbow lovers. Time Trust knocked out Keith and his party of leftists out. Wow. Bazza, you're, I don't know, what's a polite way of saying moron? It'll come to me. Let's have Brent Jaffa. Oh, Jaffa? Too late. How about New Malden, Ahmed?
Oh, hello, Nick.
Ahmed.
Yes, God help us. On Monday, we're going to be told it's going to be Liz Truss or Rishi Sunak.
If you are really hoping for God to help us, then I think you're prepared to be disappointed.
Well, the oil and energy gas companies must be very happy.
Oh, they'll be
because they know
hugging themselves.
Nothing's going to be this mob not going to do anything, as they haven't done anything for the last 2 years.
No, it's curious that a woman who used to work in the petrol industry is disinclined to tax the petrol industry in any way, shape or form.
Well, exactly. Not only that, everything is free for all at the moment. And I don't know. I mean, what's the point having a prime minister if there are going to be no cap on price increases? That all the developed countries have put cap. They have capped all the price increases.
When your fuel bill, comes in a couple of months, and then in a couple of months after that, and by the time we get to next spring, it'll be something like £7,000 a year. Just keep in mind that in France, their bills have gone up 4%.
Indeed.
4%.
Indeed. Well, we are being ripped off, and we are obviously just lying down.
Yeah,
and,
that's about right. Yeah. In fact, if you even say it out loud, if you criticise the situation that we find ourselves in, then you are branded unpatriotic. No! Liz Truss actually said that. She's going to make... I can't remember what the exact phrase was. I've got detailed files. I'll come to it in a minute. She said She will not allow people to talk down the country. So, in other words, if you have a criticism of the dear leader and her regime, then she's going to find some way of making you stop.
Well,
these are alarming times, people.
Well, it is indeed. How undemocratic it is. There are only 166,000 people going to decide who's going to be our next Prime Minister.
Yeah.
I mean, how undemocratic is that?
And these are people who were the bores who prop up the bar at the golf club. People in checkered trousers.
Yep.
Can you believe that?
Well, as I say, God help us.
Yeah, well, as I said, fingers crossed, Ahmed. I wouldn't hold your breath. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Liz Truss is preparing to shake up Britain's post-Brexit employment rights as part of her agenda to kickstart the economy before the next election. She's got plans for us.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Be concerned. Be very concerned. I'll get to all that in a minute. I haven't got time right now. Marion tweets, tell the chip shop man Ranjit that he should make the portions smaller. The few times I've had chips from a chip shop, says Marion, I've only bought one portion for 2 people, and even then had to throw some away. People are too greedy. Correctamundo. I would say that is right. You do get too many chips from a chip shop. They should cut the portions down. I mean, it's not like we need, are desperate for more nutrition. Not like we couldn't use never mind. Something with a cow noise on the end. You make up your own jokes, and I'll just sit here and contemplate where I've gone wrong in my life. Oh, you've done it? Right. Yeah, tell the man in the chip shop he should make portions smaller. Chip shop chips come in too large a portion. That is true. We don't need to eat so much. Embrace the hunger. I mean, you're not going to be hungry after you come out of a chip shop, but you don't have to be so stuffed that you can't move. That is correct. Oliver says, I saw an article about lost property on the tube today, and it turns out they get about 6 prosthetic legs a year just left on the tube. Who walks on the tube and hops off and doesn't realise they've forgotten something? That is bizarre, yeah. 6 legs a year left on the tube, which is even more bizarre. What, they don't get any right legs? Just the left ones, apparently. The stuff you learn on this show. It's like an education, no?
No.
0345 6060 973. By the way, this show gets stuck up the internet as a podcast. Either it's happened now or it is about to happen that it will only be available on Global Player. Wherever you get the podcast at the moment, if you listen to this show on the podcast, it will shortly only be available on Global Player. It's going exclusive to Global Player. If you haven't got Global Player, you can find it on your favourite app store. The podcast will still be free. It'll still be me, but it will only be available on Global Player. Make the switch now to avoid disappointment later.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global. Leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Here we go. Okay.
Hang about, Nick. Listen. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is this, Nick, right?
Joanne texts, very important message from Joanne, says, will you be purchasing some Nigel Farage gin in patriotic red, cherry, white, classic or blue gardenia? Uncle Nige promises that it is the taste of Brexit. That cannot be true. Farage has got his own gin.
I'm a nutcase.
I don't want any. I don't care what colour it comes in. Is that a real thing? Yeah, it's a no from me. And furthermore...
No.
Lest there be any doubt. No.
No.
Jan text, does anyone know which piece of ground Liz Truss is going to hit on Monday? Lester. Hello, Chris. Chris.
Hello.
Yes, Chris.
Hello?
Yes, Chris. Let me say it one more time.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about the energy crisis, actually.
Okay, actually.
People, this is just a prediction, by the way. There's going to be secured energy loans on people's properties within the next 6 months.
Secured energy loans on people's properties? What, you mean that, that you can have electricity, but we've got to take a chunk of your house?
Yes, the UK government will nationalise all the energy companies, and then they will place a second charge by the land registry on your property. And this is part of the communist agenda.
The communist agenda?
Yeah.
Right. And you thought this up all by yourself?
Yes, I did actually, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, good work, Chris. As soon as you have another thought, I want you to let me know straight away. Promise me you'll do that. You're a communist, Boris.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
I had no idea. Rose text, since downloading your show on the app today, I have been able to delete your image on my screensaver. I'm not one to grumble, but if I die suddenly, it might look I'm an obsessed fan. On another note, my kettle has expired. This is not a good day. You've been unable to delete my image from your screensaver. Can you imagine that? Every time you turn on your device, there I am. Painful. Even I don't want to see that. Martin emails, my 96-year-old father has a stash of light bulbs from the Dark Ages, the 1960s. They give off so much heat, there's no need to put the central heating on. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it, Vladimir Putin. Rootin' tootin'. Who do you think you're kidding, Vladimir Putin, when you think you're on, oh, never mind. Archway, hello, Tina.
Hi, Nick. We have got an endless conversation about what's gonna be in nearest future. Well, it's not bright, isn't it? But maybe we should have a serious conversation about the system. We have got a rotten system that doesn't work anymore. For 30 years, we had a very good here, and now the party coming to the end because the elite took from us, from working people. Yes, we lived relatively well, but now it's coming to the critical point where the vassal countries with the resources have been.
I'm just going to, just for, it's kind of difficult to understand what you said there, Tina, so I just thought, for safety's sake, I'm going to remove what you just said. Now, it could have been we've been sucked up by the capitalist system, or it could have been something else. I'm just going to err on the side of caution, if you don't mind. But I appreciate the call there, Tina. 0345 6060 973. I think that's what she said. Pretty sure. Chris says, Bodge has nominated the author of The Wit and Wisdom of Boris Johnson to a peerage. Bodge has nominated the author of The Wit and Wisdom of Boris Johnson to a peerage. Now, you might think that that's a joke, but no. Christine tweets, and now it's all our fault. We've let the PM down. The elderly are living too long. We're not working hard enough. We haven't rushed out to buy heat pumps and electric cars. It was our duty to achieve his goals for him. Yeah, and now you see what we've done. We've turned this once great nation into, from the 5th richest economy in the world to the 6th richest economy in the world. We've been overtaken on your watch, Bodge.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
It's all our fault. Must be somebody else's fault but his. Well, if you think that this country has been sucked up into by the capitalist system, like that nice lady maybe just said, then you just wait. If you think the workers have had it bad up to now, just wait. Things are just beginning. Liz Truss is preparing to shake up Britain's post-Brexit employment rights as part of her agenda to kickstart the economy before the next election. I'm sure the new Lizbot-approved workers' rights will be better than the rights that we have now. No, the actual bloomin' foreign secretary, who's expected to be our next actual prime bloomin' minister, wants to review existing EU worker protections. But don't be afraid. Liz Truss has said we workers have nothing to be frightened of.
Oh, no.
She'll slash our rights in order to, as she would say, improve the competitiveness of the UK economy. Quick question. Did she consider making company bosses invest their profits on improving the competitiveness of their businesses rather than take out any wealth that's created and award it to themselves as bonuses? No, of course not. It's the workers' fault. Of course, the Labour Party could use this to claim that a Truss-led government will reduce protections and rights on issues such as holiday entitlement and pay and working conditions. But as it's Keir Starmer's Labour Party, he'll probably not say anything for fear of being labelled a communist and just to sit there like he's a broken robot.
Correct.
One source in the Truss camp said that it would take political courage for the new Prime Minister to face down the opposition to the changes, but said it was critical for the new government to address labour market reforms if it wanted to fulfil its pledge to improve productivity and competitiveness. Are you frightened yet? You should be. The Tory party have been in power for 12 years, and everything that is wrong with British business is nothing to do with corporations, which are to be protected and given tax cuts. It's nothing to do with Brexit, which is all sunlit uplands. And it's definitely nothing to do with the Conservative Party, which is the party of good governance. No, it's all you work-shy layabouts with your second jobs and you're trying to make ends meet. No carrot for you, only stick. You know, slashing workers' rights, it seems to me, was the plan all along. I mean, that's what Brexit was about. That's what the free ports are all about. It's the Tory way. Only millionaires deserve rights. The rest of us lumpen, knuckle-dragging, waste-of-space proles will get what crumbs are left if we sit and beg long enough. Start practising your puppy dog doleful eyes. Just think Rishi Sunak when he's asked a difficult question. But great news. The policy is expected to be led by the man who is guided by his faith, Jacob Rees-Mogg. I mean, I don't know what faith he is guided by, but it can't be anything to do with Jesus, because Jesus was all about helping the poor and against those that gather vast fortunes to themselves. I mean, unless I've got that wrong. And Jesus was all about diversifying your assets and arranging your financial affairs for maximum tax efficiency. Maybe that was a part of the Bible that I skipped, along with all the rest of it. Smug is being lined up by Truss to become the business secretary. Ain't that great? What does he know about business?
I don't know anything.
What's that?
I don't know anything.
One more time?
I don't know anything.
He doesn't know anything. Perfect. You're hired. Among reforms due to be examined are changes to the 48-hour working week, which prevents workers from being discriminated against or sacked if they refuse to work over 48 hours a week. This will be implemented by people who barely work an 8-hour week. I mean, the MPs, they don't come in on bank holidays. They get longer breaks than school children. They don't show up on Thursday afternoon and never on Fridays. I mean, the actual Prime Minister, right now, in a moment of multiple national crises, has spent the past few weeks going on joyrides and holidays and playing dress-up like he's a hyperactive toddler who's had too much cola.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And they've got the nerve to call us lazy. And Blunder Truss is also understood to want to look at rules on taking breaks and calculating holiday pay that guarantees most people 4 weeks holiday a year plus bank holidays. And Truss has already pledged that all EU regulations will be scrapped automatically by the end of next year, apart from those explicitly endorsed by government ministers. And changes to the labour laws were proposed last year, but were rapidly dropped by Boris Johnson because they would have gone against his pledge in the Brexit referendum not to strip workers of rights. You remember that? They said that over and over again. And so he dropped them, these proposals, to slash workers' rights. Because it would have gone against his pledges. But of course, Truss is not bound by such pledges. Well, first of all, Boris Johnson has never felt obliged to do anything just because he promised that he would. And second, Liz Truss was acting alongside him in the Brexit referendum, so whatever we were promised by the Tory government would bind someone who has an ounce of decency in them. Unfortunately, that ship has sailed and broken down off the coast of Portsmouth due to a lack of grease in its tubes. And yesterday, in her final message of the campaign, Liz Truss said she believed in a brighter and better future for Britain. She said, "If I'm elected Prime Minister, I will never let anyone talk us down. And I will do everything in my power to make sure our great nation succeeds." Well, how about resigning immediately and calling a general election? Any chance of that?
No.
Apparently not. And what does she mean by, "I will never let anyone talk us down"? What does that mean? I mean, is she planning to legislate against it? Because at this point, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, is an outward display of fake patriotism going to be the law around these parts?
We have never had it so good.
She said if she was elected leader, her bold plan... There's that word, bold. There you are, you see? Bold, right from the beginning of this show. She's been very clear that her bold plan would grow the economy and deliver workers higher wages. They keep gaslighting us on that over and over again. Higher wages, higher wages, higher wages. Please, sir, can I have some higher wages?
No.
Yeah, no. Oh, you can have higher wages, all right, just as long as you don't ask for higher wages. Higher wages. High wage, high skill economy. Yes?
No.
No. She said her bold plan would grow the economy and deliver workers higher wages. She says, "I'll do this by cutting taxes." Oh, with the cutting taxes. And pushing through a supply-side reform and slashing red tape that is holding businesses back. Well, OK, from the top, cutting taxes only helps the rich and makes the amount of money available for the provision of everything that we non-millionaires need much smaller. It means more money in the pockets of people that don't need it and more austerity for everyone that does. That's what tax cuts mean. And supply-side reform means increasing the amount of goods for sale. It's difficult to know how she's going to do that. How would you do it in the best of times? But these aren't the best of times. Now we're looking at factories and shops closing and people without the extra cash to buy what they need to survive, never mind about extra goods. I mean, that's economics 101, Liz. Take it from someone who knows as much about economics as a hole in the ground. Or you. And as for the red tape that's holding businesses back, correct me if I'm wrong, but she and her lot created a mountain of red tape by leaving the European Union, our biggest trading partner. It was such a stupid thing to do. No other country in the history of commerce has ever done that. I mean, the red tape that she really means is everything, every right and benefit that has been won by workers and unions since the Industrial Revolution. That's the red tape that she's actually talking about. All of the things that you rely on to have a semi-decent life. You want to take all of that away. It's basically a total reset of the economy to further concentrate the wealth in the hands of the donor class, you know, those that have enough to transfer funds to their favourite political party, which won't be the Labour Party, and it won't be the Lib Dems, and it won't be the Greenies.
Groovy.
The groovy Greenies. They ain't going to get no money. Francis O'Grady, the General Secretary of the TUC, said... threatening hard-won workers' rights is the last thing the country and working people need. She said holiday pay, equal pay for women and men, safe limits on working hours and parental leave are just a few of the rights underpinned by retained EU law. These are vital workplace protections and rights, not nice-to-haves. And I'm sorry, but that's the sort of Ramona lefty activist talk that will get you on the first plane to Rwanda. I mean, there's got to be a law against being a nuisance, surely. And if there isn't, That'll be right at the top of Liz's to-do list. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nica@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
This is absolute tosh.
Still not buying your gin, Farage. Fred texts, "You are the epitome of the champagne socialist!" ! Like he's shouting at me. Well, I wish you'd called, Fred, because I'd like to discuss that with you. What on earth do you mean by that? Other than you're just repeating a line that you read in the Daily Mail, which they use to make people like you angry and to distract you from everything that's happening to you. I mean, from your name, Fred, I'll assume that you're A, working class, and B, 80 years old, probably there or thereabouts. I'm not a socialist, but if by socialist do you mean that I am concerned for the welfare of others, then yes, guilty. Of course, that is also comes under the banner woke. And if by using the word champagne you're trying to shame me into admitting that I like champagne, well, yeah, who doesn't? What else have you got, Fred? Or are you out? Greenwich, Neil.
Hi. I feel a bit of a killjoy tonight, but you might want to search your sound bank for money going down the drain. So we have a rocket, 93 billion, that hasn't left the planet yet.
Yeah, what on earth are they doing? Well, I mean, seriously, is there nothing on earth that money could be better spent on?
I know, and we have a 10 billion pound satellite, James Webb, that's sending us beautiful pictures of planets that are 35 million light years away.
I know.
And don't you think we should be sorting out our life support system here on Earth?
We got millions of children in this country, the sixth, not the fifth anymore, thanks to Boris Johnson. It's now the sixth richest economy in the world. We are falling down the charts, and the humankind is spending untold billions on getting nice pictures of space. What's the point?
I know. We need to up our game because our life support system is actually failing.
Correct.
Have a look at Pakistan. It's underwater.
That's right. What's not underwater is parched to death.
God knows what happens when the rains come here. I think we'll be underwater.
Yeah, it'll be floods. Of course it will. It'll be arid wasteland followed by floods. There'll be the waters, of course, which will be full of sewage.
Disgusting.
Will be lapping at the underside of your nostrils. Yeah.
Thanks to Thames Water.
Yeah, appreciate it, Thames Water.
Thank you.
Thanks for all the good work that you do.
Anyway, I just wanted to put that point through. I think we should stop spending money on vanity projects and we should get our planet in order first.
Correct, Amundo. I couldn't agree more. All right, thanks a lot, Neil. Or is there more?
Take care.
All right, cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. I mean, I'm all for, expanding man's knowledge of the universe and all, but what's the point? What have we actually got from the race to space that benefits us other than expanding the knowledge base of science? Okay, so we're looking hundreds of billions of years ago into something that probably doesn't even exist anymore, and you got a nice picture of it. That's great. The picture isn't actually that great. They have to colorize it before we see it, which they do by using... I mean, you might as well be looking at a cartoon. It's not that color. All of those things that are, red and yellow and green and blue. They're not actually that color. They've colorized them based on what gases are involved. And even if they were that colour, what difference does it make? They're just pretty pictures, for crying out loud. I mean, so you can see some exoplanet or I don't even know what an exoplanet is. Get that space hippie on the phone. Oh, look at the stars. They're amazing. That bloke. Wake him up. Some planet that's so far away that we'll never, ever, 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 ever get there. What's the point? We got plenty of problems right here on Earth. Let's concentrate on the actual problems that are facing us, not some problem that exists in a world that we'll never see, ever.